Facebook Live. We're joined here today by Chris Buescher. Chris is, of course, a driver of the number 17 AutoTempest Ford Mustang for this weekend. Chris, it's great to have you. We appreciate your time here. I'll start you off. Let's look back to last weekend, Talladega. You were up front all day, didn't quite get the finish you wanted. What happened in the race from your perspective there?
Yeah, well, I think Talladega went pretty good overall. We were competitive all day. We were up towards the front. We got stage points. We were in a position where we had a shot at winning it at the end, and didn't quite work out. We had a good push from the back, and got 3 or 4 wide into turn four there, coming to the finish line, and ended up getting sideways and having to jump out of the throttle, and that pretty much killed our momentum. So. Uh, if it wouldn't have been for that, I know we'd have had the momentum to at least go to the front row. What would have happened from there, I don't know. But I think everybody did a good job all day. Put us in a position where we had an opportunity to win yet another speedway race. Just need the last quarter of the lap, the final lap, to go a little bit better. Get a little luck on our side, and we'll be there. But we had fast cars yet again, and a lot to show for it. Just not that ultimate finish and that trophy at the end.
So going from Talladega Super Speedway, where you're drafting the whole time, to Kansas, where the package has dictated that maybe the race plays out a little closer to that, what are you taking from Talladega over to the race this weekend?
Uh, Still not a whole lot, with Kansas being able to spread out a good amount. It's gotten a lot of character into the racing surface now. It allows us to run the top or the bottom, and quite a few places in between, really. So it's become a really good racy mile and a half, in my opinion, and I feel like I enjoy it every time we go a little bit more than the previous. So from that aspect, I think that the thing you got to watch from Talladega is honestly tempers, and anybody that had a rough time with somebody and trying to uh, get a little bit of payback. And I don't suspect you'll see a whole lot of that at Kansas this weekend. I think that the race is going to be pretty much uh, based around what it unfolds in this race only. And I think that a lot of the stuff at Talladega is kind of expected, honestly. So at the end of the day, the Kansas race will be its own race. Excited to get the AutoTempest Mustang on track and see if we can work our way towards a trophy, because I feel like we've made some pretty awesome gains through the off season. We're showing good speed at the beginning of the season here, and we've had some good opportunities. So definitely looking at this one as a great opportunity for us.
So Kansas, you say it's a mile and a half. It's got a little bit of character, maybe a little bit of age in the track, which is something that's been really good for you this season. Had good runs at Homestead, Atlanta, some other mile and a halves that do have older surfaces than Kansas. But are you looking at that as maybe a good indicator for what's to come on Sunday?
Yeah, for sure. That's what's got me more excited about it than some of the other mile and a halves. Is Homestead was really strong for us. I'm sorry, Atlanta was really strong, and we feel like we have a pretty good handle on what's helping us at those places, and we're going to go to Kansas with a lot of that as well. Kansas has been repaved in the last handful of years now, and uh, I don't know what it is, what they used as a surface when they did it. If it's the Kansas City winters or summers, I don't know what it is, but it has weathered a lot quicker than I feel like we've seen most of the repaves. So, from that regard, it has come into character quicker, a lot quicker than a lot of other places that have undergone that repave. So, for me, it's a place that's not terribly rough, but the surface has contributed itself from a grip level to some really good 2, 3, even 4 wide racing at times, especially on some of these late race restarts.
All right, we're going to take a look real quick at the Auto Tempest Mustang colors. You got a good looking car this weekend, Chris. As we take a look at a couple of angles here, they really did a great job on the paint scheme. You're going to stand out on the track this weekend. It's really cool having a new partner on the 17 this weekend. How excited are you for that?
Yeah, it is. The AutoTempest Mustang looks really good. What you can't tell from from the renderings is the flat paint scheme as well. I think it looks really sharp. Pretty cool to bring a new sponsor into NASCAR, into our world, and introduce them to what we have going on. Not only for Kansas here this weekend for this race, but also coming back on board for COTA in a handful of weeks. So really neat to have them over here with us. Pretty neat to have a sponsor that feel like honestly it's going to get me in trouble being able to go online and search across all these auto sites to try and find vehicles a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently than anything I've done in the past is definitely going to get me into trouble here. So excited to use the product as well, use their website, and go hunting for more old Fords. But again, really neat to bring a new sponsor into the sport and really show them what we're all about. And I think that most everybody will tell you once you've been here in person and have really seen the behind the scenes and understand what all goes into to essentially going in circles, right? But in a really fast pace, it really blows people away how much goes into it, how much work, how many people it takes to get to the racetrack in the first place. It's quite an impressive feat. So looking forward to showing them around and getting them into victory lane.
Awesome. We can't wait to see that. We also can't wait to see what you're going to come up with. I know you've got a thing for old funky Ford trucks, vehicles. So excited to see what you come up with there. Let's turn our attention a little bit to specifically what you're looking for from the race this weekend. You've had a couple of good runs at Kansas, two top tens, a sixth place finish in 2017, then another top 10 in 2019. What does it take to get up front at Kansas? I mean, what makes the track different from maybe some of the other mile and a halves that you do drive on?
Um, it's kind of hard to pinpoint what exactly it is that works at Kansas, but on throttle time is really key. As we've gone to these packages that have required us to keep more momentum up, uh, that's become so important at Kansas, and I think that for whatever reason I've just found a way to roll the outside pretty good. I don't feel like I'm typically the first person up to the high side, and I usually don't get as high as a handful of others, but I seem to find a way that works pretty good and find some good speed around there. Also, something to watch out for is the late race restarts. Overtime starts at Kansas tend to be extremely wild because you have the ability to run all the way to the fence or all the way down to the line. So you have the ability to make up massive amounts of spots on a late race restart or lose them on the flip side of that. So you got to work hard on those restarts, and you have to be able to keep your momentum up, find a groove that works for you, and really commit to it. So uh, we've talked about dirty air and how it affects our race cars over the last handful of years now, and how it's become very important trying to find that clean air. Kansas, with the character that's come into it, you can do that. You can move around. You can place half of your car outside of the car in front of you and find something to keep downforce in your race car and keep your momentum up. So I think that's why it's become one of my favorite mile and a halves and has become as racy as it is just from being able to move around and find that cleaner air.
All right. So I'm going to ask you something, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because my grasp of geography in this part of the country is a little tenuous at best. Um, how close is Kansas to home for you? It seems like a track that obviously you got Texas Motor Speedway is where you grew up. Is it sort of like the next closest place that you did you ever race there as a kid or go to any races?
No, I can't say that. I think I want to say it's still like a 15-hour drive, whereas it's Charlotte to Texas for me was like 15 or 16. So um, not really getting a whole lot closer now. I say that, and now I'm questioning myself because I might have Chicagoland mixed up there. So trying to remember when I was staying in Chicago. I feel like I'm all wrong here. Maybe probably just edit this all out because I feel like it's way closer than that now that we're talking. Apparently, my geography is no good right in that central area either. But I didn't do any racing at Kansas growing up. We never made it up that way, so we stuck to the coast on either side and Texas really.
I just Googled it. It's about 8 hours from Fort Worth to Kansas City. So
Okay,
probably
so I was
somewhere in
I was
between what the two of us were saying. I'd probably 6 hours for you if you're driving. So not too
I mean,
bad.
I try and make up time legally, of course,
Of
just no
course.
sleeping, right?
Yeah, of course.
Fuel conservation.
Yeah. So, all right, with the race this weekend, with this package, the way it runs, but maybe with the character that Kansas does have, with it widening out, you said you like going high, but maybe not as high as some other guys. Has there been really sort of a preferred line at the end of the races here? You said that the restarts get wild, you can get up higher, but is it still an advantage to be on the bottom at the end here, or do you want to get up as high as you can?
I think it kind of depends on where you're at in a tire run. If it is a late race restart, really until you build momentum up, you can wrap the bottom and be wide open, and so shortest distance kind of overcomes the momentum or the grip that you think you can build up top. It's not always the case, and it really when it comes down to the very end of the race, honestly, it's going to be most dependent on whichever lane has a little bit of momentum with it already. If there's a mistake in your line, wherever that may be, it can it can check that whole lane up and really ruin a lot of people's day just from one person have a bobble. So um, it's pretty dependent on other cars around you. Really, the bottom until you get momentum built up seems to be preferred for that first lap or two. So when you start talking about overtime, I think the bottom is still preferred. Now, with the choose rule, you have the ability to go to the top and decide to take the top on a restart. You can gain a couple of rows, and if that's the case, then you know then you automatically you get those free spots right there. You move forward 4 spots, whatever it may be, and you find yourself in a good spot to try and hang on to that and possibly get a hole down to the bottom or wrap that top and just keep it wide open, keep some clean air, and hope for a jam up on the bottom. There's so many different scenarios when you talk about late race restarts, but I think that once you get into a longer run, it feels like the top typically keeps the momentum up better.
All right, last question for you, Chris. Here, we're more than a quarter of the way through the season. You are in the playoffs right now. If the season were to end today, what would it mean to you to make the playoffs for a second time in your career? And also, what's it going to take throughout the rest of the year for your number 17 team to maintain that position in the point standings?
Yeah, it was one of our goals this season to make the playoffs, right? The other one being to win races. If you win races, you're going to make the playoffs. I know we've had a lot of new winners this year, or just a lot of winners in general, and so people have talked about if there's over 16 winners, then what are we going to do in the playoffs? I really don't see that happening. Uh, Chances are that we are going to have less than 16. We'd love to add our name to that list and try and get to what 8 or 9 different winners at this point, so that we can uh, be able to lock ourselves into the playoffs that way. Right now, it's been consistency as key. We've had some really strong runs at many different racetracks through a lot of progress through the off season. A lot of really all our departments in our shop setting goals, committing to them, and accomplishing those goals, and that's turned into speed on racetrack. So, with that, we have to bring up some of the lows that we still have. When you talk about a Richmond or a Phoenix, that's what we're looking at. Is we really need to bring those up so that we can uh, turn that consistency up even that much more. Staying out of trouble is always part of it. A lot of people are having a really smooth, consistent year as well. So it is a very tight race right now. But for us, we really need to go out there and get a win, um, and really run consistently in the top 10. And I believe that'll put us in there pretty easily.
Awesome, great to hear. We're all hoping for it, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the Auto Tempest Ford Mustang on the track this Sunday, 2 p.m. Fox Sports One. We hope that everyone watching tunes in with us. Chris, thanks so much for your time. Best of luck this weekend at Kansas.
Sounds good. I appreciate it. Looking forward to it, and we'll go put on a show for everybody.